Hi guys, I'm Bri.
And I'm Alli. This is Offscript.
If you think about it, books are potential scripts for movies.
When this adaptation happens, typically it's disappointing because they went off script.
In this series, we will be talking about how off script they went. Hello.
Hi, everybody.
And welcome
To season 4.
episode 1.
Oh
How
my gosh.
the hell?
4 seasons. You guys
How
have
the
been
hell?
listening to us.
Yeah, welcome to season 4.
That's insane.
We've been doing this for 4 seasons, Allie.
I know. 2 years going on.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
How crazy.
Feels good. Not
It
only
does.
is it season 4, but it is January 1st,
New Year's
2024.
Day.
Yes. Look at that. We're going to work for you guys while you enjoy your day off at home.
Yes. Because we recorded this today.
Yes. Edited it and everything.
Yep. All before.
Midnight.
Yeah.
Oh, man. We're so fun.
I
Did
know
you guys miss us? This is the first episode. Well, besides our bonus episode with the Hunger Games, with the Polar Express, this is our first back comparison episode.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
I know. It's going to be good. I hope.
Yeah. This is like a real one. Polar Express doesn't really count. It's a kid one. This is
I know.
a real comparison.
It is. You excited?
I'm so excited.
Yeah. We're starting it out with a series for you guys.
Yes. Normally we do my birthday because it's January. So I usually pick January books. Usually that one January that we've released things in.
Yeah.
But we thought it would be really cool since the new Hunger Games movie was just in theaters
Mm-hmm.
to jump on the ball and do that. And so, obviously that's still at the end of the month because we got 4 movies to do.
Yeah. But
So,
it's still recent.
it's recent. So we understand if you don't want to listen to that one quite yet until you read/see it.
Yes.
So, but
Honestly, go. That's my favorite book in the series.
I'm excited. I haven't read it
Hands
yet.
down. It is the best book in the series.
Ooh.
Like, having read Hunger Games and Catching Fire again, like, yeah, I still enjoy it, but I'm like, I love the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes or whatever it's called.
It's a really
What's
long
funny?
title.
I was going to say it's my favorite one in the series, but because it's such a long title, I'm like, it's something with snakes and songbirds.
But so I'm going to take over my books, I think in March or
Oh, yeah, it's March.
March. Okay.
Yeah.
So I gave my
Mhm.
book month up for this because it's just so cool
Well-
that we could do one live almost.
Also, I was like, Allie, we gave up my birthday month for Harry Potter. I think it's only fair.
I believe I said that actually
Do you
because
think
you're
it
like,
was you?
you're like, I don't want to do that. And that's what I said. I was like, you gave up Harry Potter or yours for Harry. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you
That is
gave
what
up
you said.
last month for minisodes.
Why, yes, I did. God damn.
But it's not going to seem like it because we talk as if it's coming. Do you realize I think the episode coming up where you're going to be chatting about how it's your birthday week is actually my birthday week.
That's hilarious, actually. That's really funny.
Not to confuse y'all, but
I know on Wednesday, you'll be getting my first birthday month pick.
look at us jump into our sneak peek at the beginning of our
I know. I'm just saying.
We're so
It's going to be really sad because when we recorded those, I was so excited to finally have my birthday month picks. And guess what? They're not there for my birthday. Okay.
man, well, you can do what you got to do.
Yep.
All right.
Stupid strikes.
So, I mean, that's
There's our picture. It's the new year,
We're
but
excited.
same old us.
Yeah. Well, I guess this Wednesday. Oh no, it's not this Wednesday. It's next Wednesday is your birthday pick because
this Wednesday we're doing our
mini-sode.
first mini-sode. I forgot.
Okay, yeah. So that was our picture. Cool.
Yeah, but we didn't even do
Oh yeah, we're doing the Hunger Games today, you guys.
Yeah.
We kept talking about
the series we're doing. We did say that the Ballad of Snakes, or whatever that one is. I think it's the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
I think so too.
Yeah.
This is Hunger Games, first one.
Hunger Games. Sorry, you're about to get hardcore fangirl stories from me because the Hunger Games was the first ever red carpet I did.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's okay. We need some fun stuff in here.
Yeah, I know. I was finding pictures for us and putting it in our app. And I was like, cool, I have 1 million pictures.
Good.
Good luck, Allie.
All right. I can pick 10.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to give a trigger warning. If you have never read The Hunger Games before, it is about children killing each other. So it's children violence in this one.
Every time I read this book and every time I watch it, I'm like, why do we love this series so much? Why
I know,
is this
it's
one
so
that everyone
bad.
loves? Yeah.
I remember when the third one came out and it wasn't, I'm sure I'll talk about this in the third one. It wasn't as popular.
Yeah.
Because the Hunger Games aren't in it.
Yeah.
And the author was like, and that just shows that you guys are like the Capitol. And I was like, mind blown. I was like, oh no, I feel horrible.
Just wait. The ballad one. That Hunger, because it's like, it's only the 10th Hunger Games.
Okay.
In that one. So it's still very like
New.
animalistic. Like
Oh,
there's
wow.
no strategy to it.
Because they're all getting used to it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it's literally just kids going after each other.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And isn't it about Snow?
Yes.
Okay. I'm
But
excited
it's-
to learn his backstory more.
About him as a mentor.
Oh, not in it?
Yeah, he's not in it. No.
But he was in it.
He was a
That's-
mentor.
I know, but to become a mentor, don't you have to have
No.
survived?
No.
Not back then?
This explains how the mentors got started.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Okay, stay tuned. A couple weeks for that one.
Yeah.
I haven't read it yet.
It's a great book. I love it.
All right. Well, here's your synopsis of The Hunger Games, OG. 12 boys and 12 girls are forced to appear in a live event called The Hunger Games. There is only one rule: kill or be killed. We follow 16-year-old Katniss Everdeen's quest for survival as she battles the games, fighting for her life, her family, and her friends. Oh, wait, her friends and her people. That was too many things.
Especially since like her people, she doesn't care about her people.
I know. Come on, Google. Maybe I should read these things before
You're like, yep, perfect.
Professional. Okay. Author Suzanne Collins. Director Gary Ross.
Mm-hmm.
Screenplay Gary Ross.
Mhm.
Suzanne Collins and Billy Ray.
That's funny.
That makes kind of sense. It was very similar.
Mm-hmm.
So makes sense that author was a screenplay writer as well.
But also there is some changes. And
Yes,
I'm like,
there are that I don't like.
yeah. I'm like, why?
And others that I don't know if I like or don't like.
Yeah.
Let's see what we come up with.
Yeah.
Audiobook reader I listened to Carolyn McCormick. She was okay. But I had a story about that because Ballad of Whatever just came out. There is so many copies checked out from the library for audiobooks. And I was on a 2-week wait for Hunger Games, but it came pretty quick. But there's an 11-week wait for Songbirds. Yeah.
Oh no.
And then I'm under 2 libraries because I'm like right in between
Mm-hmm.
2 cities. One of them has several month wait for Catching Fire. Another one is 2 weeks.
Oh,
But-
no.
So in the end, I decided just to go buy it because Audible was having a sale anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm listening to, who did you say?
Tatiana. So I listened to one chapter of The Hunger Games because I was working out with John, and on his row machine, I wanted to be productive. At first I was going to try and read the book, and he was like, "You're dumb. Why are you trying to read a book while you're on exercise machines?" He's like, "We'll just find the audiobook for you." So he got the audiobook for me, and I got to pick between Carolyn or Tatiana, and it said that Tatiana was like an Emmy award-winning actress. And I was like, well, duh, I'm going to go with her.
Mhm.
Oh my God, guys, she is Katniss.
She's who does the rest of them that I bought,
Mhm.
and she's really good. Yes.
She, like, in that one chapter, she almost convinced me to just listen to them. But then I was like, you have these in. Surprise, guys, I'm listening to a good chunk of this season's books on
What?
audiobook so that Allie and I can hopefully get ahead. and not wait on me reading books.
Yeah, but now you're like 5 books ahead and I'm
I'll
behind.
take that because I feel like every other time it's been me that's been behind and I get stressed because I'm reading the book and I'm not listening. So,
it's your turn to be ahead.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you can pause and listen and read your books.
I know I need to. I really want to, I'm going to finish getting through Hunger Games and then I'll do that.
Good plan.
That's my plan. Yeah.
Good plan. Okie dokie. So continuing. We've gone on lots of tangents today. Have you guys missed us?
Obviously, we've missed you, even though we've been doing. We didn't take a break yet. It seems like we have.
I know. There's just something totally different between minisodes and this. Is like
I know.
I just have so much more fun with this.
Oh, for sure. I think the minisodes. It's just hard to come up with freaking ideas.
They're perfect for
in between.
Yeah, but not every
the whole season.
Yeah. So
I agree.
Okay. So the book came out September 14th, 2008, and the movie March 23rd, 2012, and that is a 4-year difference.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I got to see it a week before. No, I saw it 2 weeks before it released at the red carpet.
Fancy.
Mm-hmm. I think it was like March 4th. Oh, hold on. I just went and checked my ticket because I have all my red carpet premiere tickets in a little frame with a bunch of other tickets that I got from volunteering at a film festival. But anyways, I saw it March 12th, 2012.
Cool. Almost exactly
2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So which first?
I read it first.
I am 95% sure I read it first.
Yeah.
But I actually don't know. I know I read all the other ones first.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this one was, I saw it and I was like, I got to read it. Or if my mom was like, you got to read this and then we'll go see it. So I'm just saying I read it first because.
You want to know why I read it?
Huh. Because you were going to the premiere.
No.
Oh.
No. That just was a happy coincidence. Me and Sierra were planning my first LA trip and Allie. Sierra was like, wouldn't it be cool if we could find a red carpet premiere that we could go to? I was like, yeah, but like, how would you figure that out? And she figured it out and she was like, Bri, I found us the perfect red carpet premiere because she was obsessed with these books too.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, oh, that is perfect. And then we worked on making our shirts. But no, in one of Rob's Breaking Dawn interviews, they asked if he had been reading any books lately. And there's a high chance that he answered it like this just because Lionsgate, who was their studio, is the studio for Hunger Games. But he said Hunger Games and I was like, oh, I better read it.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you, Rob.
Okay. And so now that you've read it, what do you think of the story?
I think it's so fucked. I do.
It's a really messed up story, but it's so entertaining. It's really similar. I had mentioned this before. My friend Jason and I got him into Harry Potter, and so he started giving me random movies to watch. And one of them was Battle Royale. And in my head, I was like, that's like a James Bond movie, right? And no, it wasn't. Have you seen it?
It sounds familiar, but I don't think I've seen it.
Okay, it's a Japanese movie, totally subtitled.
Yeah.
And it's basically the Hunger Games.
Oh, funny.
And I'm just looking now, and it's a book.
Oh, hey.
But here's what it says. Before the Hunger Games, Fortnite or Squid Games, the concept of Battle Royale.
Fortnite?
Yeah. Do you think of Fortnite as related to the Hunger Games at all?
No.
Did you ever watch Squid Games?
I watched bits and pieces, but I never sat down and watched the whole thing.
I never have watched it either.
It's not my cup of tea.
So it came from a pulpy 1999 Japanese novel. So I don't know why, but I was so obsessed with it. Like, I thought it was so entertaining to watch, and it's horrible because it's legit. I feel like the Capitol watching it because it was so entertaining. But I think I really want to truly believe deep down in my heart, it's just because I know it's a movie.
Yeah.
And if it was, I was seriously sitting there watching kids kill each other, I would not like that. Don't be laughing at me. I better be true.
No, I just think it's kind of like when you drive by a car accident, what do?
Right.
You look because you're like, oh, what happened?
But I don't think I would sit there and watch the accident happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a really messed up concept.
Yeah, for sure. I almost feel like...
I really think I only like it because I like the characters. Like, if I didn't like any of these characters, I don't think I would like this book.
Yeah.
But they're likable characters. I'm just shocked I do like it. Because this is my next series after Harry Potter.
That you wanted to do, yeah.
Yeah, that I read and that I was into. So...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Well, what's funny is I was big into this until I read Divergent. Then I read Divergent and I was like, wow, this is kind of what I wanted Hunger Games to be.
Oh.
You know? Like I wanted... Because I felt like Hunger Games could have been a little bit more adult, but it still was very much young adult, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And while Divergent was young adult too, I feel like the theme of it was more adult.
Yeah, I could see that.
So then after I got into that series, my like love for this series kind of died down. I was like, it's still entertaining. I might read it again. Who knows? Like I haven't touched the book since the last Mockingjay came out.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Why'd we pick it? Oh, we kind of explained that at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because the new movie came out.
And Allie wanted to do this one.
I have been wanting to.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into Allie's super fun facts. So there was a swear jar on set, and co-writer and director Gary Ross said half of it was from Jennifer Lawrence herself.
Yep. Damn straight.
She is so funny. I love her.
Yeah, she's great.
Okay. While horsing around on set, Jennifer Lawrence accidentally kicked Josh Hutcherson. How do you say his last? Hutcherson. There's too many sounds in his name. In the head and knocked him out, resulting in a concussion.
Oh, poor kid.
I know.
He's like,
Number 3, because most of Cinna's scenes were with Katniss, Kravitz learned as much as he could about Jennifer Lawrence through his daughter Zoe, who appeared with her in X-Men. And I love that she was in Divergent.
Yeah.
I love that. That was very exciting when I did cast and I was like, hey,
you're like, hold on. Yeah, no. Oh my gosh. Lenny Kravitz. I grew up listening to Lenny Kravitz and I love Lenny Kravitz as an artist. And so when he was cast as Cinna and Finnick are my 2 characters in this series.
Okay.
Sadly for me. But
a little bit.
So when Lenny was cast as Cinna, oh my God, I was over the moon. I was so freaking excited. I was like, I don't even care. I love him already.
That's awesome. Number 4, it was the first film not released by a significant 6 studios. I put this one in here because we just got off the strike. So it was not released by 20th Century Fox, Walt Disney Pictures, Paramount Pictures, Warner Brothers, Columbia Pictures, or Universal Pictures.
Heck yeah.
And it grossed over $400 million in the United States. Color Force, an independent studio, bought the rights to the book, and they sought out production company Lionsgate to help them.
Wow.
I know.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Way to go to the little guys.
Yeah. Stick it to the man.
Okay. Deo Okenye.
I don't know.
I'm so sorry. He was who played Thresh. He read the trilogy in the 3 days before his audition. That's a book a day. Just so he could audition for Thresh, who dies in this one.
Yeah. Why would he want to read the other 2 for his... He probably just liked the books.
Yeah, he was probably super into it.
Finish it, yeah.
Yeah. But I thought that was awesome because it was like a... seemed...
and then he literally only has like 1 line.
I know, but he did real good.
Yeah, he did. He was actually really sweet at the red carpet too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm excited to hear about him. All right. Well, that's my facts.
Yeah.
We ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right, so there's details. It kicks off about Katniss and she's hunting in the woods, and she hunts with her friend Gale, and they live in this District 12. There are 12 districts, and as they get farther and farther back from District 1, they get poorer and poorer, basically, is the gist of it. And there's this thing called the Hunger Games, and it's where every year the districts are basically punished, even though the capital doesn't say that. They're punished because there was a
rebellion.
Yes. And there used to be 13 districts, but District 13 basically imploded and it's gone forever.
Mm-hmm.
And in this Hunger Games, one boy and one girl have to fight to the death, and from each district. So
I was
there's
just gonna
24 of them. And they're from 12 to 18. Each year they get their name added, but they can get it multiple times
to get other food.
to get more food. So District 12 is very poor, and Katniss's family and her best friend Gail's family is super poor because their fathers, who were working, died in a mining incident because their district's known for coal. And so her name's in 20 times, and Gail, who's 18, she's 16. So her name's in 20 times, and Gail's 18. His name is in 42 times. He has 2 extra mouths to feed at his house too, though, than hers. So that makes a little more sense now that I think about it. And her sister Prim, who's just turned 12, so it's her first reaping, she got chosen, which is, I mean, what is the likelihood
Unheard
of that?
of. Yeah, you have your name in there once.
I know. And then Katniss freaks out and she volunteers as tribute. And this is also when we meet Effie and Haymitch, who, man, they're a fun little bunch.
Haymitch is actually my other favorite character.
I love Haymitch.
Haymitch is my all-time.
And
yeah.
Woody
Haymitch
Harrelson does so good.
Yeah. Yeah. When he was cast as, he was another one that got cast, and I was like, I love it already.
Yes.
Like, don't even care if I've seen it yet. So in the movie, the one thing that I actually love that the movie does is, since there's, most of the book is told first person inner monologue, all these thoughts, but in the movie that would be weird having her narrate everything.
Yeah.
And so how they get around that is by showing us the capital people all the time. And you see Caesar Flickerman, and he's
like the host of the show.
Yeah, he's the host of the show, but he's also basically the host of the movie.
Yeah.
And so he leads us through everything, and he's the one who like gives us like, this is what, which also is kind of annoying because it's very much so holding our hand throughout the whole entire thing.
But I think it's really holding our hand because we've read the books. Like if we didn't read them, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Like we'll get to the tracker jacker part and all that was like, because you wouldn't know any of that stuff, but because we do, we're like, okay, we know
I don't need to hear this. Okay, even though I love Stanley Tucci too, so he can talk as much as he wants. So in the movie too, we see Prim having nightmares about getting called for the reaping. That doesn't happen in the book. I mean, it could potentially happen, but we never hear about it, which then makes me think that Prim's a little bit more like, if you've grown up in this, yeah, you've probably had nightmares of it happening, but you're used to it. You don't freak out like she does in the movie. So that, but I also feel like because they cast someone who doesn't look quite 12 years old, they kind of have to make her a little bit more, I don't want to say childish, but they have to make her seem a little bit more childish rather than, so that might be why they make her freak out and like, I don't want to get picked. They make Katniss sing to Prim here because later on in the book, Katniss talks about how she used to sing to Prim, so she will do it for Rue, blah, blah, blah. I was upset because Buttercup is supposed to be an orange tabby.
I knew you were going to be mad about that. That was my first thought when I saw it. I was like, it's supposed to be orange?
It is. It's supposed to be an orange tabby cat, and it gets fixed in the other movies, which also
really?
Yes.
Oh, I haven't watched them yet.
So then that
recently
irritates me because I'm like, thank you for fixing it, but also now as movie people, the cat has been established now as this black and white cat. So why aren't you keeping it like that? Now it's like, oh, it's the same cat. But guess what?
It got a hair dye.
Yeah. I was upset about that. What's funny is I've got a bunch of details that you didn't add in.
I'm trying to keep it.
I know.
This was our plan. Remember, I go over the basics, and if there's details that I didn't talk about, you can mention.
I know. That's true, but then I feel like I'm going on and on.
Nope.
But anyways.
That's the point of our podcast. Talk about the differences.
So then, in the book, when Katniss and Gale meet up to hunt, they Gale got some bread for something, and Prim's goat made cheese, so they like split it with each other, and they're excited to take it home to the family to like feed them that. In the movie, they just start eating the stuff. They're like, "Oh, yum, bread."
Who cares about our family?
Yeah, exactly. And then in the book, the mayor's daughter, her name is Madge. She's kind of a big character throughout the series. I mean, not big. She's like a big character who keeps popping up throughout the series. She's non-existent in the movies.
I know. I was sad about that.
And she's who gives Katniss the Mockingjay pin, not Katniss going and buying it. Also, Katniss then tries to give Prim the pin for good luck.
Good luck. Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck. And then you get reaped.
I know. And then Prim gives it to her for good luck. And I'm like, that wasn't clearly good luck for you.
Yeah, exactly. Why are you getting back to her? Okay.
All right. So Katniss is trying to stay calm because all the cameras are on her. And then the boy gets chosen, and it's Peeta Mellark, who is just the baker's son. And she has one memory with him, and he had burnt the bread.
Oh,
yeah.
I had a funny story about volunteering for tribute. In college, when I was going to Starbucks, me and Sierra would always like get funny names for our coffees. And like on Halloween, I dressed up as River Song and she dressed up as the doctor. So like we put River Song and the doctor on our coffees and whatever. And one day, one of the Starbucks employees, because Sierra knew her name that she was putting down, and one of the employees was like, I just keep waiting for someone to put Primrose Everdeen for their name to then yell, I volunteer as tribute. And I was like, I got you, put it on my cup.
That's awesome.
And then I yelled it at the top of my lungs and drew up the little symbol. And she was like, that made my day, thank you. I was like, anything for you.
That's
I
awesome.
grabbed my coffee. What's funny is now if I try to do that, I don't think I would be like, no, I can't do this.
So embarrassed. Isn't
Yeah.
it funny how in our early 20s we
I
thought
did not care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we were on top of the world back
Oh,
then?
heck yeah, I was. I was Katniss Everdeen volunteering for tribute to get my coffee.
What a hard thing to do. Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess I'll volunteer.
Oh,
Give me
I
that coffee.
volunteer. Give it to me.
All right. So Katniss's memory with Peeta is that he burnt the bread and his mom started beating him and made him go throw it to the pigs. But instead of throwing it to the pigs, he threw it to Katniss because Katniss is like in the street dying. This is right after her dad died. And so she's starving and she knows she has to take care of the family. She doesn't know what to do. And him just tossing her the bread.
Well, also, Katniss tried to sell Peeta's mom some of what she hunted
Oh, yeah.
for the food. But she was like, I'm not taking that. No way.
Yeah. And she kept yelling at her to get out or she's going to call the peacekeepers because she's like, looks like a little homeless girl laying in her
Yeah.
at her bakery.
Yeah.
But that act of kindness and like motivation to get food is kind of what sparked Katniss to learn how to hunt and start providing for her family. So in the end, Peeta saved her life.
Mm-hmm.
Aw, how sweet. So now it's time to say their goodbyes. So like they're chosen and they're escorted to the rooms and family can come in and say goodbye. And so first it's Katniss's mom and Prim come and hug her, and she's full on like, Mom, you cannot disappear on Prim, because when her dad died, she like zoned out, and like that's why Katniss had to take over because her mom was non-existent, just there. And Prim was like, you have to try and win, and she promised Prim she would. And then Peeta's dad comes in and he brought cookies and promised that he would take care of Prim because Prim is just like the liked girl around District 12. She's just a sweet little girl. She helps her mom in the apothecary or whatever. Her mom does all the health stuff. And she's just sweet. And then her friend Madge, as Bri said, brought her the Mockingjay. Madge is her name, right? Brought her the Mockingjay pin as a district token because they're allowed one token to represent or remember their home when they go into the games, and it's her little Mockingjay pin. And then Gale comes in and says goodbye, and he promised he'd make sure her family's fed and everything. Then they get on the train.
Peeta's dad doesn't come and bring her cookies, and Madge doesn't come and give her the pin. And after she says her goodbyes, or wait, maybe it's before Gale gets there. I think it's actually before Gale comes in. Katniss acts like she's going to try and leave when in the book, Katniss just knows. She's like, there's no getting out of this. But Katniss like opens the door and it's like, huh? Like, can I get out of here?
I guess I took it as her opening the door to like see what's going on out there. But I thought that was weird too.
Yeah.
It was just a weird scene.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
No matter what it was doing.
Yep. Also, I put a note here that Haymitch wasn't at the reaping. So we didn't meet Haymitch until he was on the train. But I love in the book, Haymitch is so drunk he falls off the stage.
I know. That's so funny.
Why don't I get to see Woody Harrelson doing that?
He was probably like, yeah, I'm not going to do it. No, I could totally see him being all for that.
Oh, he would do that.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
don't know why. It's like they wanted to keep it this big reveal on the train or something. But also, like, they already knew that Haymitch was going to be their mentor because Haymitch has been the mentor since he won the games.
That's
so, like,
right. Because they did make it seem like, oh, that's who's going to be mentoring us in the movie.
Yeah.
Weird. So they get onto the train and they're off to the capital. And now they explain this as like, this is basically the whole United States, which I never caught before. And I was doing research and it's like, I think they said they're in like, used to be Kentucky area.
Yeah.
And so I don't know where the capital was, but it's a long train ride. It's like overnight. So they're off to the capital.
It's like weeks long, but in the movie it's overnight.
Maybe it's days long. I don't know if it's weeks.
I think it's like a week long.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they have a lot of time on the train to like talk about like, okay, so what's our strategy here? What are we going to do?
Okay. Yeah.
But in the movie it's like, cool, go to sleep, we wake up, we're there.
Yeah, my guess is like west coast of Kentucky.
That's what I think.
Great.
Probably California.
Oh, that makes sense. I could see that. Okay. All right. So Haymitch is drunk. He's their coach, and he's in charge of getting them sponsors and everything, which is, you know, kind of pissing both Katniss and Pete off because they're like, great, does he not care about our lives?
Also, when I was watching the movie, I was like, I think all of the mentors should be drunks.
Dude, seriously, you just went through so much and then you watch your kids die every year
after year after year, which also then brings your PTSD back.
Right. So it's like the worst thing. Oh man, this is just a horrible thing. So Haymitch comes out drinking, and because it's the next day now, and Peeta knocks the cup out of his hand because he's like, what the hell? Heck. And then Haymitch punches Peeta.
Heck yeah.
Katniss puts a knife in between his hands because he goes to grab his drink again. And he's like, oh, wow, I got some good tributes this year. I might actually be able to do something with you guys. Eventually, they pull up on the Capitol, and Peeta's like waving and smiling. And Katniss realizes, oh, he's actually here to play the game. He knows how to do this. Okay.
So they don't ever tell Haymitch to stop drinking like they do in the book. In the movie, they just let him do his thing, but they
yell at him a bit.
Yeah. And Katniss puts the knife on the table. I think one of my favorite lines that Woody delivers is when Peeta gets up and waves and he says something like, you better watch out. He knows what he's doing.
Yes, exactly. I love that one.
Like, yeah,
or like
Katniss.
Or like when Katniss asks how they win, and he's like, you get people to like you, and you're not off to a good start, sweetheart.
No, he's perfect. I love him.
Really good. So now they're at the Capitol, and they go meet their stylists. And the prep team makes sure they're all clean and hair-free and all this sort of stuff. And then Cena comes in. Yes.
Cena?
Yes, I spelled it wrong. Cena comes in. And he's Katniss's stylist. And normally what they do with the districts is they put them in what is their like district known for, like fishing or coal mining or whatever. And naturally, you know, coal miner is only like so cute, right? Not at all. And so District 12 is never recognized. He's like, no, but what does coal make? It makes fire. So we're going to set you on fire. And sure enough, that's what happens. And right as they're about to go on to the chariots that like do the little parade down the main area of the Capitol, Cinna's like, hey, you two need to hold hands. And they're like, okay. and they hold hands. And everybody's watching them because they're on fire and they're holding hands. Because normally the tributes just, they're
Ignore
all...
each other.
Because,
They're about to have to kill each other.
Right. But no, they're a team from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. So when I read this, I always picture it like in a circle or like a parade, like a Disneyland parade or something, not down a straight line like in the movie. So that always gets me. I'm like, yeah.
I actually don't know how I pictured it. I think actually you're right.
Mm-hmm. Because when I read it, it reads like it's not just a quick little, oh, we're down an aisle.
Yeah, I actually think so.
It reads like it's like they're going through the town. Like, oh,
right.
Hi. Cinna doesn't tell them to hold hands. Peeta just randomly reaches for her hands and is like, no, come on, they'll love it.
That made me so
I
mad.
know. Yeah.
That was one of my top that I was upset about.
I know. I think it's so stupid. Also, we see President Snow at this when in the book, we don't see Snow until the very end of the book.
I know. It makes sense that he's there, though.
Yeah, it does.
But you're right. He was not in the book.
Yeah.
So they get so much praise from Effie and Haymitch. Well, as much as Haymitch can give praise. Their prep team and everyone is so like, you guys did great. Mm-hmm. And they go back to their hotel and they're watching the opening games. Is that what it's called? Opening of the games. There we go.
Yeah.
And
opening ceremonies.
Yes. And so in their room, there's this girl that Katniss recognizes. She's like, oh my gosh, I recognize you. But she's an Avox, which means she's a traitor of the Capitol. So everybody's like, you can't recognize her. And Peeta helped her out.
And an Avox also has their tongue cut out.
Yeah, because they're a traitor.
Yeah, so they have to be mute.
Yep. So Peeta helps her out and is like, oh, she looks like that girl from back home. And Katniss can tell he's trying to help her. And she's like, oh, you're right. Mm-hmm. But she knows that she has to tell them the true story. So they eventually go up to the roof where there's no cameras, or if there are, it's too loud. And I guess the book says that there was this girl and this boy while Gale and Katniss were out hunting, running, trying to get past District 12, which is weird because there's nothing out there. And the Capitol helicopter or plane or whatever hovercraft got them, killed the boy, and they captured her. And so she couldn't really admit that because she's not allowed to be hunting
out in the woods. Yeah.
So
that didn't happen in the movie.
Yeah. So she just feels really guilty too because the girl was shouting for help and she did not help at all.
Because she was like,
Yeah. So she's probably like, great, this girl wants me to die in the games. And it did not happen, as you just said.
Not at all.
Now it's time to go to training. But before going to training, Haymitch is like, you got to stick together. Keep the whole team thing going on. And also don't show off your strengths in front of other contestants. Save that for the game makers because they have 3 days where they're training with everybody. And then they have a final performance just in front of the game makers. And Peeta's super strong. Katniss is really good with a bow and arrow. And so they go to all the stations like knot tying, camouflage. And we find out Peeta's great at camouflage because he decorates cakes.
Okay, but if he's great at that, why is he also flaunting that?
I know.
When Haymitch tells him to keep that hidden.
Right? Because my guess is because no one was there to look.
Yeah.
Everybody else was doing other stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Katniss noticed a girl from District 11. She was like following them around and she really reminded her of Prim. And I think, do we find out now her name is Rue? And I think so.
I think so.
And then it's time to show off their skills. Actually, there's a lot that went wrong in this. Do you want to go there before we get to the skill part?
Yeah, absolutely. Because this is like where everything starts making me go, what? So right off the bat, Cato dislikes Katniss when he's just a career in the book. He doesn't care. He doesn't like anyone. But in the movie, for some reason, he's just picked Katniss out of everyone to be like, oh, I don't like you. You're going to be my target.
Yeah, it was odd.
What? Yeah.
Oh, and careers are districts 1 and 2 who train their whole lives to go in the Hunger Games. And once they're 18, they volunteer as tribute so that they can go in and die.
No. It's 18 is when you can't be in the games anymore. Okay, so the 17. Second they're 12. In districts 1 and 2, the kids are just volunteering. It's never a kid getting picked because someone else is going to be volunteering.
Right. So I thought they were training until that's why they're all older.
No, they just train in that. It's not an age thing or anything. It's just they're better
Right.
off because they're training.
Right. So they're training, and then as soon as they're at the age where the year before they can't be in it anymore, those ones are the ones who get chosen to, or not chosen, but volunteered to go in there. At least it was in the movie. That's what Haymitch said.
Oh, no, not in the book.
Okay.
That's where we're getting confused. Okay. I was like, no, they just, in the book.
Haymitch is like, yeah, they train their whole lives, and then at 18, because 18 is the last year that they can.
That's one of my big beefs too, because Haymitch isn't the one that explains it in the book, because Katniss already knows. So Katniss has just given us the details. Like districts 1 and 2, their kids just train. Like they don't ever have to draw someone because everyone's volunteering in that district.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? I bet their reaping ceremony is like 30 minutes long with everyone like, no, I volunteer as tribute. I volunteer.
Right.
No, I volunteer. I'm like, how do they choose when everyone volunteering?
I always thought that too.
Yeah. So there's a difference from the movie and the book. And then Haymitch doesn't tell them to stick together, so they go and do their own little trainings. Also, there's individual trainings. Like they explain how the next training days are going to go, and they're like, there's group things, but then there's also individual things. So we're going to be pulling you and having you individually train for things.
Which is not.
No, that makes no sense. And then one of the times, Pete is like climbing a rope, and he looks weak because he can't climb too high, and he falls. And all the careers are then looking at him. And so Katniss runs over and is like, you need to throw that heavy thing over there. And he's like, but Haymitch said to hide our strength. And she's like, no, you need to go and throw that over there because they're looking at you like you're a meal. And then he goes and does it. I'm like, no, you're supposed to look weak to them so they don't know what you're doing.
I thought it was so stupid. I was like, ah!
I know. I was like, why the heck? And then Peeta is the one who points out Rue to Katniss, rather than Katniss being like, oh, I've seen her following me this whole time.
Mm-hmm. There was like a blow up because Cato was pissed that someone took his knife.
Someone took his knife, and it was Rue who was up hiding the thing, and he tries to attack one of the other kids.
That does not happen.
No. My next notes are at their, yeah.
All right, so now it's time for the in the book, and for the personal one-on-one with the game makers, to show them what they got. They go in order, so both 1s go first, 2s all the way to 12. So now it's Katniss's turn,
and it goes boy and then girl from each district.
Yes.
So Katniss is literally the last person.
And so they're just done. They've watched 23 other kids do this. They're just not paying attention. They're paying attention a little bit, and Katniss grabs the bow, and then she messes up because it's a lot tighter than her at-home bow. And so she's like, okay, I just got to get a feel for it. But right when she messes up, they're just done. But she shoots. Did she, do a good shot in the book?
In the book, she fucking, she does rolls, and she shoots 3 things.
That's right.
She's,
she does, a
impressive. Lot. Whereas in the movie, she just does a shot right to a heart on a target.
And so she's really impressive, and they're just not watching. They're more interested in this roast pig that came in, and he has an apple in his mouth, and she's pissed. And so she shoots her bow and arrow through the apple in the pig's mouth right next to the game makers, and they're all stunned. And she's just like, yeah. And she leaves. Thank you for your consideration. And just leaves.
Mm-hmm. In the movie, she goes before Peeta. Which I think is stupid. And then, like we just said, Katniss does 1 shot rather than a really impressive. Because if she just goes and does 1 shot, no duh, they still didn't look at her.
Right.
The fact that she did a whole bunch of she was jumping over things and shooting everything and hitting all of her marks and doing rolls and dives and stuff. I would be way butthurt if they weren't watching me with that.
Right.
But just 1 little shot.
They had to cut time out. They're like, just do it 1 time. We'll go on.
Yeah. And then the rest of that happens.
Katniss gets back to her hotel room, and she's just pissed at herself. She's pissed at everyone. She just goes to her room and just cries. And she finally comes out to eat, and they talk about what happened, and everybody finds out and she finds out that they didn't pay attention to Peeta either, which kind of made her feel a little bit better because they weren't just targeting her. And Effie's pissed at her. Like, what were you thinking? In the book, was Haymitch proud of her too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
he was. He was very proud. He was like, well, he kind of like at first was stern, and then he finally was like, okay, but how were their faces?
Yes.
Tell me.
And so they are ranked, all the teams, all the individuals, 1 to 12, 12 being almost no one ever gets.
Mm-hmm.
And 1, man, you suck. Why are you here? Because they have to be.
Yeah.
Peeta got an 8 and Katniss got an 11, which is the highest out of all the tributes.
Mm-hmm. And this also helps them get sponsors because then the sponsors are like, ooh, maybe they are actually really good and they'll win.
Yeah.
That pretty much happens.
Yeah, I think so.
Do want to make a note. I don't know where that note is or if I didn't make it because I was like, that's stupid. But one of the things when Effie is showing them to their room where they're going to be staying, she's like, and you guys get the penthouse suite because you're from District 12, so you're on the 12th floor. And all I could think was, why are they in the penthouse?
Right.
Like, it should still be the 12th floor, but it shouldn't be the penthouse.
I always imagined at least a 13th floor.
Yeah.
Because when you think well, I guess the games hadn't happened because that's the punishment for District 13. I was going to say because there used to be 13 districts.
Mm-hmm.
But I always thought there was at least another floor.
Yeah, no. So in the movie when she says that, I'm like, you idiot, they didn't get the penthouse suite. They're just District 12, so they get the 12th floor.
All right. So the prep team and Cinna made her look super pretty for her interview. Like if she spins, there's little flames on her dress and everything. And Effie and Haymitch then prep her on what to say and how to act. So Effie teaches her how to walk in heels and how to be sweet. And Haymitch is trying to figure out what angle they can go with to make people like her during this interview. And he can't come up with anything because she's just that unlikable, apparently. And Cinna let her know, hey, if you're scared, look at me in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it'll be fine. And that really helped her. She acted pretty aloof. She was pretty, she seemed likable. And, but in Peeta's interview, he's super likable. And he admits that he loves Katniss, which shocks her and all of Pan Am.
One of the things that Allie did not mention is that, so at the start, when they're on the train, Haymitch asks, do you guys want to be coached together or separate? We can do this together or we can do this separate. And they're like, let's just do it together. Like, it doesn't make sense to do it separate. Mm-hmm. And then after Katniss got her 11, Peeta told Haymitch she wanted to be coached separate. And so when Katniss finds that out, it's like a gut punch to her. Haymitch never asks in the movie if they want to be coached together or separate. So then randomly, Katniss comes up and is like, what's the plan for today? And Haymitch is like, or Effie, no, it's Haymitch. Haymitch is like, well, me and you are going to coach at 9. And then I'm going to go and coach Peeta. And she's like, what? And he's like, well, Peeta has to be coached separate.
Right.
But it's not as much of a gut punch there because we didn't know.
Right.
It's like, no duh, they should be coached separate. And then in the movie, in the book, when she spins and it's fire, in my head, I just always thought it was like how he designed it. Like the colors in her dress then looked like flames once she started to spin. In the movie, real flames come.
I guess I imagine real flames, but I've seen the movie enough where that's probably why.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's stupid. Yeah. No, I don't like it. I'm like, it's kind of stupid. And then I also don't like, because in her interview, Caesar asks her something about the flames that she wore in the opening ceremonies. And she goes, well, I'm wearing them today. And then she gets up and spins and there they are. Like,
yeah,
girl, you're not supposed to be that smooth.
She is supposed to be very rocky and she was not.
Okay. But the rest of that happens.
Okay. So once Peeta gets off stage and they're off camera, Katniss is pissed and she pushes him and he cuts his hands open on a broken urn and all this sort of stuff. And she's mad because she's like, you made me look weak. And Haymitch is like, he made you look desirable. Mm-hmm. And you could use that, sweetheart. Mm-hmm. And now they're going to play the star-crossed lover
Story.
Yeah, story. That's the word I was looking for.
Yep. In the movie, when she slams into PETA, he does not, an urn doesn't break, so his hands don't cut up, which I think is a big deal because now she feels bad because she's like, oh my gosh, I'm sending you into the Hunger Games with freaking cut up hands.
Helpful. Thanks.
Yeah.
So it's the night before the game. She can't sleep. She goes on the roof and she sees PETA there. So she goes over and apologizes for her cutting up his hands and all this sort of stuff. And he just shares how he doesn't want to let the games change him. She's just trying to figure out what all that means. And yeah. And then the next day comes and they're about to start the games. And Cinna comes and gives her the Mockingjay pin. And then she gets this tracker shot in her arm. And there she's raised up on the pedestal.
So in the book, for Cinna to give her the Mockingjay token, he explains that it basically had to go through a bunch of the game makers to make sure that it wasn't like a secret weapon or anything like that. And they were kind of worried because it's a pin, so it could be a weapon. He's like, yeah, but she's not going to use that as a weapon.
Right.
Like, it's not a viable weapon. In the movie, he just pins it like under her jacket and does a whisper
Like a
symbol. Yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was stupid but I mean, I don't know, a 2-second line that they'd have to explain that every district gets a token.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's why they made it like that. So they didn't have to explain it. But it's like,
Just explain it.
Right.
like
2 lines. You could have explained it.
Easy peasy.
Every district gets a token.
Yeah.
Here's yours.
Yeah.
Done.
Especially since it becomes such a big deal. Like, so now it's a big deal, but it's something that's hidden on her.
Right.
Other than that, the rest is the same.
So they're not allowed to get off their pedestals until 60 seconds is up, because if they do, there's landmines underneath them. They'll blow them up. And they're allowed to look out in like 60 seconds to prepare just take in what they see. And there's this giant cornucopia there. And Hamish is like, don't go to the cornucopia because that's where everyone runs, because that's where all the stuff is. He's like, just go find water. But she sees a bow and arrow and she's like, oh my gosh, I gotta get it. And so she's like trying to plan how to get it. And she looks over at PETA and he shakes his head very slightly and says no. And because of that, she started thinking about like what? And then the timer went off, but she had already hesitated too much that she couldn't go for it. And she was pissed off. So she decides to just grab a backpack, which is near her. And she ended up having to fight over this backpack. The kid ended up dying because someone threw a knife at him. And she runs to a spot to camp. And she put her bag down and she looked through it. She had a sleeping bag in there. And in the night, they play Who Dies. And 11 kids died that day. And she straps herself into the trees and falls asleep.
In the movie, she doesn't get a sleeping bag in her backpack. Instead, she gets a rope. And she uses the rope to tie herself to the tree to sleep. Sleeping bag is very important in the book. And she uses a belt to keep herself strapped. And also, how she straps herself in the movie is kind of stupid. She's like sitting up. In the book, I always imagine her like laying down.
Right. How do you sleep sitting up?
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, how you wrap yourself around that tree. If you like anything happen, you could still fall.
I know.
With you sitting like that. This is also one of the first times Katniss gets in a tree and gets herself all situated. She hears a camera in a tree, and so she like looks into the tree, which doesn't happen in the book. In the book, she knows that they're being broadcast and the cameras are all over the place, but she doesn't actually like look for it.
Right. And I don't know why I didn't picture I don't know how I pictured the cameras. I don't know how I just like magic cameras. They could just see everything because it's like, what if they're in a spot that there's no cameras, right?
Yeah.
I imagined any time, anywhere they could be broadcast. So I don't know, unless they have that many cameras.
Same. Which, I mean, I guess I could, but
Yeah.
it doesn't say that in the book.
No. And then I think a difference also was that 12 died in the movie instead of 11, which I was like, why?
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Right? I remember watching
Probably
that
to keep the movie short.
I guess, but just like,
yeah.
one of them died when she was knocked out, right? It just made no sense. I was like, they can all still die, just in the right spot. Ready? Okay. So she woke up because someone was starting a fire nearby, and she's like, what an idiot. Like, and now they're in my area. Like, I could be seen. And sure enough, here come the careers, and they kill her, and she's like, man, that sucks. But the cannon never went off. So they're like fighting below, saying, did you really do it? And he's like, yeah, I did, blah, 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 blah. And then she hears a voice saying, I'll go back and finish the job. And it was Peeta's voice.
That happens in the movie, but it's not as big of a, like, what?
I know. I remember re-listening to it, and I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Because really, the way they wrote it in the book, it was a
holy shit,
gosh.
What?
Yeah. And it really seemed like a, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Whereas in the movie, it was just kind of like, oh, cool, he's with them.
Rude. That's why he wanted to train separate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the careers then are talking because Peeta goes off to finish the girl, which I also thought was really odd, but that also happened in the book. So it just seemed like an odd Peeta moment, but I guess he had to prove. But he seemed really odd when he had to talk about later in the book killing people, like how he didn't do it. Didn't he say how he when Foxface dies, wasn't he like shocked and like I didn't mean to?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But he deliberately went right here.
Well, in the book. Yeah. Yeah.
I just thought about that right now.
Well, I think it's because this one he deliberately went and did it, but
Yeah.
Foxface was an accident.
So he felt bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was an accident, and it was with berries that were meant for him and Katniss.
Yes.
So it was like, oh shit, I almost accidentally killed us.
Oh, got it. Okay. Okay, so he goes off and finishes the job, and the careers are like talking about, why don't we just kill him? And he's like, no, he's the only way we'll find the girl. And she knows that they're talking about Katniss. But they didn't find her that night. But she's becoming very dehydrated, and she's like calling out to Haymitch, please help me. Because they can send parachutes down with supplies that their sponsors can buy for them.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like decides she's just going to die right here. And she's laying in mud, and she's like, oh, mud needs water. And sure enough, she finds some water, and she drinks it, and she starts to feel better. She hunts for a little while. Like, days go on in this book that do not in the movie.
In the movie.
The movie really is like
Movie
4
like,
days,
yeah,
if that.
Boom. Everything happens right now.
And so no, because she spends days hunting and days getting,
a camp set up
Yes.
and the routine taken care of. And
but one day she's woken up by fire, but it's not a campfire. It's a game maker fire shooting freaking, I don't know if it shot fireballs at her. I didn't imagine it did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
it doesn't until she gets to a certain part.
And then it starts shooting fireballs at her too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, she gets burned really bad. They're basically trying to corral her
To some other
areas.
tributes.
Because the games are getting slow because everyone's just chilling out. And they're like, no, we need some killing. Let's go get together.
Mm-hmm.
And so she gets burned real bad. She lays in a pool of water to help her burns. But then the careers are coming. So she's able to climb up a tree, but they're too heavy to climb the tree. One has a bow and arrow. She shoots but misses, sticks in the tree. And Katniss is like, ha ha ha, I get it. And Peeta's like, just leave her. She has to come down anyways and we'll kill her then. And she's just like, wow, whatever. Love you too.
Okay, so in the movie, like Allie just said, everything kind of happens pretty quick. And so as Katniss is still like trying to walk towards and like find some water and stuff, she starts getting close to the edge of the game map, and the game makers don't like that. So that's why they send the fire, not because it's getting boring. I don't like that.
I don't either.
And that's my only note here.
Okay. So Katniss sees Rue in the tree next to her, and Rue points up, and she sees a tracker.
And this happens in the middle of the night.
Middle of the night, yeah. She sees a tracker jacker nest, and we learn all about tracker jackers and how they're like genetically engineered wasps from the Capitol that, like, if you're poisoned, they sting you. You're like,
You're dead.
Hallucinating. You start, going crazy. You welt up. You die. All this sort of stuff. So she's like, oh my gosh, if I saw that branch off and throw it down on them down there, like, they'll get out of the way. But it's loud. So she has to do it during the anthem that plays at night when they say who dies. So she starts, but she wasn't able to do it all the way. And also she notices the tracker jackers are kind of sleepy from the smoke. So she's like, well, that might have been a bad idea to get it down tonight anyways, because they might not even do anything. So she waits till morning and she sees that everyone is still asleep and she keeps going with it. She also received this gift before she started. Yeah, before she started.
Yeah, sawing.
So before, was she in the trees already, or was she was in the trees when she got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Hamish sent her a parachute for her burns, and so she got to put it on and she started feeling better. And then all the sawing and everything happened.
Mm-hmm.
Well, morning comes and she saws the hive and throws it down on the careers, but she gets stung a few times. 3 times, I think it was.
Mm-hmm. Her knee, her hand, and her neck.
Yeah. And the tracker jackers start attacking the careers like crazy. They run into the water because they were near a lake to get rid of them. 2 of them died, though, and one of them was the girl with the bow. And so Katniss was able to... She first ran off, and then she's like, wait, the bow! And as she's having, like, these hallucinations, she goes back and gets the bow, which she had to, like, break her fingers off, basically, because they were so swollen. And Peeta comes up like, what are you doing here? Run! And she ends up running, but passes out.
So, Katniss just starts going to town on the tracker jacker nest. Rue points out and she's like, perfect. And just saws. Doesn't care if they hear her or anything.
And isn't it like the next day?
No.
She sees Rue?
In the movie or in the book?
Oh, no. This all happened during the day.
No.
Like her running, her in the water when the careers come and everything is all during the day.
Oh, yes. Because in the movie it happens at night.
Yes. That was I didn't like that at all.
Yeah. Because Rue sees it, points it out, she sees it, she cuts it down. And one of the things that I don't like with the medicine and the parachutes in the book, it's just the parachute and the gift that comes. No notes, no form of communication with your mentor. In the movie, there's notes like, stay alive.
I know. I couldn't decide if I liked it or not. Like...
Well, it makes... Because, like, the Capitol would not let that happen.
Right, because who knows
what you're saying to them.
Right, unless they had to screen it.
Yeah.
And use generously, stay alive is what the first one said.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really giving anything away, but I could see them still being like, encouraging notes can support, like, help their morale. You can't do that.
Yeah.
So I didn't like, what I didn't like about them is that they freaking beep.
Oh, yeah, that's true, because then they give away where the person is.
Yes. There's like a little flashing light
Beep,
and they go
beep, 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 beep.
Yeah. And I'm like, she's like trying to hide in this tree and a parachute is beeping at her.
Hey, I'm here. Here's your gift. Let's make everyone in this arena hate you even more because you're getting gifts.
So Katniss wakes up from the venom and like her hallucinations are kind of...
Oh, I do want to say in the movie too, when Katniss hallucinates, she sees Caesar Flickerman come and like explain that she's having the tracker jacker hallucination, and I do love that.
I know, I liked it a lot too. Because they did a little with his little co-host.
Yeah,
is that what I think it is? Oh yes, those are tracker jackers. But they didn't really explain what they did.
Yeah.
They just said they can be lethal. And then because she got stung but didn't die, they had to go explain what they did.
Well, no, they actually explain what they do before, but I think just in case you miss it, they then go and re-explain it.
Oh, okay.
And you just hear Caesar Flickerman's voice saying exactly what he just said again, and then you see him in the woods.
Oh, okay. I missed it. See?
Yeah. Yeah. Good thing they did that.
All right, so Katniss wakes up from the venom and she figures out Peeta saved her life because she was kind of hidden in like a little hole area. She goes back hunting. She's finding water. Okay, long time passes again, but then she sees Rue, and they agree to make an alliance because she reminds her so much of Prim. And Rue helps her with her tracker jacker stings. And so in Rue's district, they work in like the orchards and stuff, so they have lots of tracker jackers. So they know medical techniques of these certain leaves that if you put it on it kind of sucks out the poison. So she started doing that for Katniss, and then Katniss helps her because she got burned with some of her burn medicine, and finds out Katniss has been knocked out for 2 days. 2 other kids have died since then. See, there's the 12th kid they could have put right there.
Yeah. But nope.
And they're like, we need to make an offensive plan because Rue tells her everything she knows about the careers, and they have all of their stuff at the cornucopia and like a pyramid thing. And that's where all their food is. And Katniss knows careers only live because they can kill everybody and get all the food for themselves. What if they didn't have any food? And she's like, okay, we're going to go burn down all their food and take it out. And then we also find out in her bag also were sunglasses. And she's like, what, pointless? And Rue's like, no, those are night vision, like you can see in the night. And she put them on, and sure enough, it looked like daytime when they're on. We find out the careers have 2 pairs, and that's why they hunt at night too.
Yeah, that doesn't happen in the movie. But just the sunglasses part. Everything else happens. Also, when I read this, I picture all their supplies being inside the cornucopia.
Mm-hmm.
And like the apples hanging from the roof of the cornucopia. But in the movie, it's all like feet away from the cornucopia.
I know, because why would you, unless they sleep in there? I don't know. Why would you not put it in there? I mean,
like out in the open for everyone else to try and come and steal.
This was really how Suzanne Collins meant it, because when she blows it up, how would she blow it up and still be able to have the cornucopia at the end?
Well, I always pictured it like right on the inside, so that most of the explosion like happened on the outside, like the opening part.
Okay.
Not in the cornucopia.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, but I did not picture it how it was either.
No. I'm like, this is dumb, because now the bag of apples that she uses isn't hung like precariously to where it could physically hit a mine. Instead, it's like on all this stuff, which then means it has to like roll to activate a mine. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. So as they're talking about their plan, Rue sees Katniss's pin and starts talking about mockingjays and how they're all over the place. And you can hear they used to communicate that way in District 11, where they would sing a little 4-note tune and they would communicate with each other saying, time's up, done for work. And they're like, okay, that'll be our signal that, you know, if we're not in this meeting place when we say we're going to be, we'll still let each other know we're okay. So Rue goes to set 3 different fires to draw the careers out, and Katniss goes down and she sees Foxface, this other tribute, and she like does this little jumpy dance thing and steals some of their food and runs back. And she's like, that's weird that she didn't touch the ground in certain areas, until she notices all the podiums around them are dug up because some of the bombs or landmines or whatever are reburied as a booby trap. She's trying to decide how to break this and to set it all off, because she can't go up there now. She realizes, if I shoot the apple bag that's hanging, it'll break open and it'll blow it all up. And sure enough, that's what it did.
I already kind of just talked about the differences here.
Yeah, I think another difference, though, is that they left a kid there to guard it.
Yeah, that was a big one. And I thought that was really stupid.
I did, too. Yeah, and everyone was supposed to leave.
Because that's also what tipped her off, that it was booby trapped, because she was like, why didn't they leave anyone behind? And then she was like, oh, shoot, that kid that they just took with them came from district blah, blah, blah. So he has experience with
bombs. And
explosives. And then she looks around and sees all of their podiums that they came up on. And she's like, wow, everything's digged up. So they got the landmines out.
Yep.
And that does not happen in the movie.
Nope. But he dies right after the careers come back. So
yeah, so
that's the same. Pretty sure her eardrum is exploded. She is now deaf in her left ear, and she wants to check on Rue, and she realizes, hey, you never made it to the 3rd fire. She's like, what the heck? And then she hears her name being screamed, and she runs, and she sees Rue's trapped in a net. And then before she can take her out, a boy throws a spear at her and kills her. And Katniss then kills the boy, and she's holding Rue, and Rue asks her to sing to her, so she does as she dies, and she decorates her body with flowers, and she received a loaf of bread from District 11, and she knows it's from 11 because way back at the training center, Peter was explaining all the different breads from different districts, and this one was from 11, so she knew that, it was probably for Rue, but instead of pulling their money back, the gift back, they sent it to Katniss instead, because she also did her little 3-finger kiss and held it up to the sky, and
she holds it to Rue in the book.
Okay,
she does it to Rue, but in the movie she does it to the sky, and I fucking hate that.
Okay, well, so that is a thing that they do in District 12 a lot, which they did in the reaping ceremony when she volunteered herself too. Everybody did it for her.
Yeah.
And so
it's basically a goodbye.
Yeah.
And I'm upset that she does it to this guy because like
that shows rebellion.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, where she wasn't trying to be rebellious.
No, she was just saying goodbye to her friend.
Yeah.
And then in the movie, we see in District 11, everyone does that thing too, which also, how do they know to do that? Like, that's not from their district. That's from District 12. Why are they doing the finger symbol back? And then they start causing a fight and throwing things and stuff. And she never gets bread because instead, in District 11, the rebellion has started.
Yes. I liked that. I mean, it's not really supposed to start that intensive yet. But I liked seeing, they kept jumping to, like, they jumped to Gail and her mom. And I loved jumping to people watching it. And so I liked.
But also tell me, why is everyone in District 11 not doing their job and just standing around in the center of the town watching?
Because they're made to. Oh, no, that's only for the opening, right?
It's still on their TV, but they're not supposed to just drop everything.
I wonder if it was because they were focused on one of their districts. Like one of their kids.
Well, they don't explain that.
They don't, because they don't jump out in the book.
Well, no, in the book they explain that basically during the day the games aren't shown because they do everything, and they get the recaps at the end of the day when everyone's like eating dinner and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I think I would have much rather her receive the loaf of bread from District 11 as it's a quiet rebellion. It's we see what you did. We appreciate you. Here's the bread for you. We'll go about our business.
Yeah. I don't know. I liked it. All right. So, there's an announcement made that now we decided there can be 2 winners, but only if they're from the same district. So she's like, PETA, I gotta go find him.
Katniss does not shout for PETA when that gets announced in the movie.
Nope.
Instead, she's just like, all right, gonna go find him.
Yep. So she begins looking for him, which is super difficult, right? She has no idea where he is. She did hear at the cornucopia before the careers left, or maybe it was before she left, it was before she left after the explosion. They're like, do you think it was PETA? They're like, nah, he's bleeding out somewhere because I cut him good. And she ends up almost stepping on him because he's covered in mud and camouflage. And so he quietly jokes about kissing because they're supposed to be in love. And she gets him all cleaned up, and his cut on his leg is horrendous. It's full of pus and everything like that. He's talking about how he's going to die and everything. Katniss didn't want him to. Like, she wanted him to shut up. So she kissed him. And that earned her a little bowl of broth. And she understood, Haymitch says 1 kiss equals 1 bowl of broth. And this is why another reason I was on the fence about the notes. Because I liked that he was talking to her through the gifts without writing notes to her. Because Katniss understood.
Exactly. Like, he wasn't giving me water because I must be close to water. So I should keep trekking.
He gave me this gift because I kissed him. Better gifts might get me, or better acting might get me better gifts and everything like that. Which is when she ended up explaining why PETA probably hasn't gotten any gifts, because he would have just taken it as a gift, whereas she understood Haymitch's thoughts behind it.
That does not happen they get the gift in the movie. Also, Katniss doesn't know that he's bleeding to death. Also, his bleeding to death thing doesn't look that bad.
No.
It's like a little cut.
Right. It was a slash, but in the book, it was described as like
infected, pussing, horrible. Katniss almost vomits multiple times.
And he was like camouflaged into the rock.
Yeah. Yeah. Who is not a great camouflage? It's a funny looking camouflage in the movie.
So now it's the next day. PETA's leg is worse, even though she drained all the pus from it with Rue's magic flowers, magic leaves or whatever. That was another difference actually way back with Rue that I didn't like.
No, I actually wanted to talk about this and I totally spaced. I freaking hate the leaves that they put on Katniss when Rue's pulling out the pus or the venom.
Yeah, she's like, I changed your leaves twice. Well, one,
She's supposed to chew it in her mouth and put it on her wounds.
yeah.
Not have it be huge ass leaves covering her hand
Like
that
a
sticks to her
bandage.
and looks like a freaking glove.
Love that we were on the same page with that too. Okay. So Peeta's leg is worse. And to help distract him, she tells him the story of how she got Prim's goat. And then the announcers are like, there's going to be a feast tomorrow with a backpack. And everyone needs something desperately. And she's like, oh my gosh, it's Peeta's medicine. I gotta go. He's not gonna live. But Peeta will not let her go. He's like, if you go, I'm going to. And, you know, they'll just have to kill me there. So what's the point? Haymitch sends sleeping syrup. And she's like, oh my gosh, this is going to knock Peeta out for a day. So perfect, I can go. And sure enough, she like mixes it with berries and feeds it to him. And he knew right away. Well, he didn't at first. He's like, these are really sweet. And then he started getting drowsy. He's like, oh,
You
did
drugged
not.
me.
And then he fell asleep.
This doesn't happen like this in the movie. First,
Oh.
Katniss. Oh, yeah.
It went on and on about his fever. How
Oh, yeah.
he is like dying of a fever, basically.
Mhm.
And not so much in the book or the movie.
Yeah. No, he like kind of shivers to make it look like he's.
And she's
Got a
like, you're
fever.
really warm.
Yeah.
I'm like,
But not.
he's supposed to be like 100 degrees.
Well, like the thing too, though, that doesn't get portrayed well in the movie, obviously. In the book, she's always downplaying it to him. She like fills his head and it's like,
Right.
oh, you're fine, you're warm. So that's why she was saying it like that in the movie.
Mm,
But for people watching, it doesn't look like he's got fever then.
no.
In the movie, Katniss doesn't tell Peeta about Prim's goat. Instead, Peeta starts telling her how he feels bad about how he didn't just go to her with the bread for her, when the whole bread thing is just a silent, like, they both know it happened. They both know that's what's tying them together, but neither of them say anything about it.
Right.
It's just like, I owe you my life because you did that for me, and you just know that you did that for me.
I also didn't like, I didn't picture in the book, tell me if I'm wrong,
Mm-hmm.
that Peeta went out and initially listened to his mom and was giving it to the
Yeah, no.
pigs. Yeah, because he purposely burnt it to
Mhm.
give it to Katniss, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And- yeah.
They literally, in the movie, they make it look like she's a homeless person needing food. And he sees her in the corner like, oh, I feel bad for you. And then throws it to her. And I don't like that either, because she's supposed to have just been trying to sell his mom meat.
Yeah.
And then one of my notes is Peeta says, come here, please. So she cuddles with him. And part of me is like trying to figure out why. Or actually, no, I think it's because in the book, she knows that she needs to be put in on thick. And he never has to ask. It's never like, oh, I need you to come here, please.
Right.
It's
She just
always,
does
she's
it.
like, oh, hi, I'm cuddling with you so I can try and get us food.
And by this time, she's like kissing him repeatedly.
Mm-hmm. On the lips, on the cheek,
Uh-huh.
wherever, making it seem like they're together. And then she doesn't get the sleep syrup from Haymitch in the movie. So she just leaves when he's sleeping
I know.
because he got worse. I did air quotes, guys, because how are we supposed to know that he got worse?
So Katniss heads to the feast, as they call it. And they call it the feast because in other games, people have been starving so much that it literally was a feast just to draw all the tributes together to fight to the death. And so she goes there. And one of the backpacks on the table. Or she goes, she's like, where the heck is the table? And then it raises up. And then Foxface grabs her backpack and runs away.
Because she was hidden in the cornucopia.
Smart girl.
And Katniss is like, damn it, why didn't I do that?
And
Although if she did that, then she would have been fighting with Foxface.
I know. Foxface.
Gotta love my stupid Invisalign lisp sometimes.
So Katniss is like, okay, I gotta go now. So she goes. Also, all the backworks were different colors, and she had a teeny tiny orange one. I just want to put that out there. 'Cause I'm sure.
I'm really glad that's literally my next note.
Yes,
All the bags are the same size.
the same color.
Yeah.
So she gets stopped by Clove, who's the girl from District 1, 2,
I think she's from 2.
Kato and her.
Yeah.
Okay. So she gets stopped by her, and she's the girl who's really good at knife throwing. So she throws a knife at her and has a huge gash above her eye. And Clove's about to torture her. But she mentions Rue and about how she's going to die just like Rue did because they killed her and all this sort of stuff. And then Thresh comes out, who's the other the other tribute from District 11. So Rue's partner.
Mm-hmm.
And he just friggin' smashes her head in with a rock. Well, first he's like, you killed Rue. And she's like, no, Kato, come save me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I heard you say her name. He smashes her head in with a rock. And then
he turns to Katniss and is like, is it true you guys were allies?
yeah, and she lets him know everything. Like, I sang to her, your district gave me bread and everything like this. And he's like, okay, just this once. Now we're even. And he steals Kato's backpack and leaves, and his own.
Mm-hmm.
And Katniss gets back to Peeta and shot him up with the medicine because it was a needle.
Mm-hmm.
And then she passes out because her head injury.
The one thing that you don't mention here is that Kato comes to Clove's calling of his name.
Oh, yeah.
And then he goes and chases Thresh.
Because he sees him steal his backpack.
And because he just killed Clove.
Yes.
And that doesn't happen in the movie.
Nope.
Also, in the movie, Thresh bashes Clove's head into the cornucopia, and only once.
And she dies magically.
Yeah, from that one thing.
Yeah. I feel, well, except that, I don't know. For being this violent of a movie, I feel like smashing a head in might have pushed it to the R rating, which might be why they...
Only if it showed blood.
How would you, like, smash someone's head in and not show blood, though?
How they did it with the cornucopia.
Yeah, but it was on the back. I guess they could have done it on the back, but I always imagine it like forehead.
Or they could have did it. Well, in the beginning of the movie, they show a kid beating another kid with a brick.
They do.
So, yeah.
That's right. They really did. Because they were showing, like, highlights of previous
Hunger Games. Yeah.
This is when you see a tribute become a
Victor.
Like,
It's a very important moment.
apparently.
Mm-hmm. Also, the medicine that they get for Peeta is not an injection. It's just a salve. So then Peeta is like, come here, and takes his medicine and puts it on her head, which I'm like, okay, the medicine you're supposed to be getting is for blood poisoning. So it shouldn't be what you're trying to put on her head because you guys have two separate injuries.
It's magic medicine.
Oh, it is. It's so magical. Also, it heals them overnight.
Yep.
They're perfect the next day.
So they go out hunting, and Peeta went gathering because he just sucks because he's so loud. And they agreed on the Mockingjay call. I got to say that. I'm so pissed in the movie that Katniss changes Rue's Mockingjay call. So Rue goes, la, 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 la. And Katniss is like, do, 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 do. I'm like, this girl legit just shared her tune with you. And you're like, I'm going to change it.
That's hilarious. I didn't even. I was like, whatever. You got it. You got the 4-note thing. We're good.
And so he's out and they hear the cannon. And she's like, Peeta, Peeta. She's freaking out. She didn't hear him. Is that how it happened in the book, or am I thinking the movie only?
That's how it happened in the movie.
So she just couldn't find him in the book, right? And it was freaking her out.
So now what it is they had been hearing she taught Peeta the Mockingjay call. And so they were supposed to be doing it to each other back and forth. And so they're hunting and they're doing it. But then she realizes, she's like, okay, I've actually
not heard
been out here and I haven't heard that in a long time. Maybe I should go back and check on him. So then she goes back and she sees all the stuff that he's hunted or gathered. Yeah. But not him. Okay. So then she's like, what the fuck?
And it turns out
starts booking it.
Yeah. He went out of Mockingjay
range.
Territory. Yeah. Range. And, while they're together, that's when they hear the cannon.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so they assume, that's right. Because he's like, we got to like prep because we think Kato's coming or one of them's coming. And it turns out, nope, it was Foxface because she died because you picked poisonous berries, the nightlock berries.
That doesn't, it happens in the movie, but it happens because she hears the cannon go off for someone having died. I think it's Thresh, like who dies at this point. And so the cannon goes off for Thresh dying.
No, it went off for Foxface in the movie.
Oh, duh, yeah. Yeah, so she hears the cannon. She starts chasing after him freaks out, is like, what the hell? And then he holds up the thing to her, and she very dramatically is like, Peeta, that's Nithok, you can't do that. Whereas in the book, she's kind of just like, thank you for getting these, but these will kill us.
Yeah.
Do you see what happened to her?
All right, so they continue to heal up for several days. They're like there for days and days, healing up in this little cave that Katniss got them to. And
That does not happen in the movie.
nope. Eventually, and each, they're telling each other stories, and they're playing the romance card, which is why I'm sure the game makers did not hurry up and make them find Cato. But eventually they did, and they took away their water supply, and they realized, oh my gosh, the lake has water, which is right by the cornucopia. That's where they want us to be. And so, sure enough, they have to make it to the cornucopia, and they're kind of waiting around at this lake, and all of a sudden they see Cato running at them, and Katniss shoots a bow and arrow at him, but it bounces off because he has magic armor on that he got out of his backpack, and to protect them from Katniss's arrows. But he just runs right past them. They're like, what the heck? And then they see the mutts coming, and they are like these mutant dog things that they soon discover were their old tributes, because they have their eyes and their hair color.
That never gets realized in the movie.
Nope.
And Cato does not have his armor. You never find out what the other tributes got in their backpack.
I know.
And their water supply does not dry up to drive them into the lake. What happens is the mutts get released to chase after them to make them go to the cornucopia.
And then they meet Cato when they finally climb on top of the cornucopia.
Yeah, because they're getting attacked by the mutts too, not just Cato.
Yeah. I also didn't like what the mutts look like. I imagine them more like, I just finished The Hobbit this weekend with my mom. I imagine them like the wargs. And these guys just seem like big, like bulldogs.
I think I pictured big bulldogs.
Really?
I pictured them as like dogs.
Yeah. But they were all the same color. Like they didn't have different color hair and stuff like that. So they climb up onto the top of the cornucopia, but on the way, Peeta's leg again, poor leg, gets super badly. Was it the same leg or a different leg?
I think it's the same one.
Okay. Gets super badly cut up and scratched and bitten or whatever. And at some point he gets caught by Cato, and Katniss has pointing her arrow, and because she can shoot his head, doesn't have armor on it, but if he shoots her, or if she shoots him, he's gonna fall and take Peeta down, and Peeta's gonna die. And so they come up with a plan, and she shoots his hand, and Peeta was able to knock him down, and then the mutts get him. But the mutts don't kill him. They torture him all night long, so that everybody in the Capitol has such a fun little show to watch of this boy being eaten by dog all night. Dogs all night. And finally, the next morning, Katniss is able to get down there and shoot him with her bow as he's begging her, please end it, and shoots him.
Peeta's leg doesn't get badly hurt again. Obviously, there's still no body armor on Cato. Basically, everything else happens except where it doesn't happen all night. Also, you see the game makers are able, like, in the book, the days don't get sped up. It's the actual day. It's that. But in the movie, the game makers can speed up, and they're like, oh, they just finished with the mutts. Let's make it daytime.
I also hated this part in the movie because Cato has like this redeeming moment sort of thing. Like, go on. It's like redeeming and not redeeming, where he's like, shoot me, I'm dead anyways. Yeah. Everybody knows it. Yeah. And I'm like, he's supposed to like think he's going to win until the end. Yeah. And I'm like, why is he even saying this? Why did he, why is he not believing in himself anymore? He
also said something weird about like, I only like to kill people or something. He said something that made me go, what the hell?
Like, but what good is that going to do me out of here or something? I don't know.
Didn't make a note of it because I was like, whatever.
Yeah, I didn't like, didn't like that.
Yeah. I just feel like it was because they actually cast someone who was like, they cast someone who's pretty famous, although I feel like he hasn't done much since Hunger Games. But he was like someone who had been in quite a few things at that point. So they probably were like, okay, we got to give him a little bit more.
A little bit of a speech here.
Yeah.
Yeah. as they're about to wait and be like, okay, we win, because the mutts go away and everything like this, they get the announcement that, oh, just kidding, there can only be one of you. Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
And Katniss turns to like almost like, because Peeta brings out his knife, so Katniss
To drop it.
yes, Katniss turns to and holds her arrow to him, and she sees that he throws his knife into the lake. She feels horrible. Great, really looks like a lover card there.
I love you. Let me kill you.
But they decide, hey, you know what? We will both die. Let's eat the berries. But in Katniss's head, she's like, they're not going to kill us.
They need a victor.
They need a victor. And so right as they're about to all die, they're like, wait. Yes, you're both victors.
Mm-hmm. Happens.
Yeah. I don't think she didn't try and kill him, though. Right away, they were just like,
no, she does. She doesn't point her bow and arrow at him, but she gets it ready to shoot.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
Mm-hmm. It's very subtle, and it's, like I said, it's not pointed at him.
Uh-huh.
So it's not obvious.
Okay.
But it's definitely a look at where her head is.
Yeah. So they get swiped up by the Capitol plane, and Peeta passes out from the injury. Oh, because she did like a tourniquet on his leg because he was going to bleed out. And they're immediately taken into medical care, but they're separated, and Katniss is freaking out. She's like, is he alive? And Haymitch and Cinna come in. Gosh. And she's given food and said that Peeta's okay and everything. They're about to go on stage, and Haymitch is like, yeah, they just want your reunion to be on stage. And he gives her a hug and is like, you are in big trouble. The Capitol's pissed at you because you tricked them with the games. You need to play the lover card perfectly. And so she's like, what about Peeta? Did you tell him this? He's like, I didn't have to. He's already there. She's like, what the heck does that mean?
She's such a fucking idiot. So Peeta also gets amputated. His leg gets amputated, which does not happen in the movie. Which is kind of annoying because it gets mentioned in Catching Fire too, and that is not a thing in the movies. The big difference here that really pisses me off is Haymitch and Katniss's conversation here. Haymitch does it purposefully as he's hugging her so that it's in her ear and the Capitol can't see it on their cameras or hear it in their bugs. In the movie, they just do it right out in the open on their little apartment floor. Like, hey, Capitol, here, I'm going to tell Katniss that she screwed up in front of you.
So they do their interviews because they won, and she's freaking out, right? She's like, oh my gosh, I'm not good at this, but she lets Peeta talk most of the time. And when President Snow gives her the crown, she can see in his eyes how it's all her fault. Like, he knows all this is her fault. And Peeta's doing great. This is when we find out he has a prosthetic leg. And on the way home, Katniss shares kind of what's going on with the Capitol, and Peeta finds out that she's been faking the lover card the whole time, and he's like super hurt and heartbroken, doesn't want to talk to her anymore.
In the book too, when given the crown, President Snow breaks the crown in half and gives each Katniss and Peeta half of the crown. In the movie, he just got 2 crowns waiting for them. And in the movie, Peeta is basically the one who's like, okay, so we're not in love anymore? Yeah.
I didn't like that. I was like,
that's not what it is.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
That was it. It was a longer one, but
did it.
There was a lot going on in this book.
Yes. Okay.
All right. So, wait, how many did they cast? Scroll up.
Oh, sorry. 160.
Okay. IMDb cast 160 people for this movie. Now, that's a lot. Since it's a series, we're dividing up like we always do.
And we'll talk about the main 2.
Yes.
Normally it's 3, but with this one, the third one's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, not as much.
The movie kind of downplays the third one.
I love that we're not saying who.
Gale. Sorry, guys. We are not going to talk about Liam in this one.
My heart. I wish we were.
I know.
All right. So,
except for I will say at the red carpet, it was kind of cool because this was when Liam and Miley had just been engaged the first time around. And so she went to the red carpet and I was kind of like, well, that's cool. What up, Miley?
That's funny. All right. So let's kick it off with Jennifer Lawrence as Katniss Everdeen.
She does really good.
I think so. I liked her.
Yeah, like I said, I almost wish I could recast audiobook reader as her. I don't even know what she looks like, but
She's probably like this little perky blonde, and
right,
teeny tiny.
But literally, just how she reads it, I'm like, damn, you have the spunk that Katniss has.
Yeah,
like you're Katniss.
Because I feel like my only beef with Jennifer Lawrence was that she seemed almost too mad at the world and serious. Yeah. Whereas Katniss definitely was.
But she was also very like...
She was able to play spunky. Her part during when she needed to.
Yes. Yeah. I think that was just also because they cast a very fresh Jennifer Lawrence who had only done like, what is it? Winter's Bone or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she was only in one other movie. She had been nominated for an Academy Award and then got this movie.
She said she didn't want to do this movie at first because she was scared it would mess up her life because it was such a popular thing. Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of helped her.
Yeah, a little bit. All right. I also found out that she apparently auditioned to be Bella.
Oh.
Yeah.
How funny.
Yeah.
Wait, was that one of my fun facts?
I was just trying to figure that out. I think it might have been, actually.
I think so.
Yeah. I just... Catherine Hardwicke did an interview with Josh Horowitz, and this was one of the things that she said. But she basically was like, but I don't remember her audition because the second Kristen did it, it was her role.
Right. No, I don't think she would have been a good Bella.
No, Kristen's Bella all the way. No one can change my mind.
All right. We got Josh Hutcherson. Gosh.
Hutcherson.
Hutcherson. PETA.
Yeah. I think he does good. I do. There's a part of me that wishes. I don't know. I feel like he's almost too mannish. And like, I feel like PETA's super boyish. He plays the boyish part very, very well. But there's times where I'm like, PETA would still be a very like innocent little boy at this point, and you're very much a man.
Okay. I guess I could see that. Mm-hmm. I loved him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Pretty much why I wanted to see this movie. He was one of my loves.
He's a cutie.
Like, I guess I'll go see it now.
Yep. We have Elizabeth Banks as...
Oh, wait.
Wait, what?
Actually... He was, so when me and Sierra did the red carpet, they did like, I don't want to call it fan camp because it wasn't fan camp where like Breaking Dawn, I was there for 4 days. We were there the night before the premiere. And the night before the premiere, they told us, they were like, some of the stars are going to come and like, we're going to set up a table and do autographs for you guys, but they wouldn't tell us who. And so I was like, I really hope it's Josh. I really hope it's Josh. And Sierra's like, I really want it to be Jennifer. And the funniest thing is Jennifer and Josh were both there. And when Jennifer was there, like Josh, it was just Josh at the table by himself. When Jennifer went, it was Jennifer with like a lot of the other tributes. Which is funny because I'm like, you're also the other star.
Right. Why didn't they just go together?
Yeah, but no. And then I got to get my heart signed by Peter Malark on my shirt, guys. I literally made him sign my boob.
He's probably like, great.
I did that on purpose. No, you can, in the picture, he's got a smirk on his face.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my favorite parts of this picture is there's a girl waiting in the line behind us. And she's super blown out because the sun is like shining right on her. But you can tell her face is just complete and utter shock. She's like, it's the funniest. And you can tell his security guard's not happy that he's doing it. It's a great picture.
It's going to be a Me Too movement thing.
Hey, this was way before Me Too. Hey, and then I did it with freaking Sam Claflin in the next one.
All right.
And Sam's reaction was way better than Josh's. Josh was like, yeah, in the heart. Yeah, okay. And then he got up and signed it. I have a better story with Sam.
All right. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do Elizabeth Banks was Effie Trinket. Which, fun fact, they didn't say Effie's name once in this whole movie.
Yeah. Isn't that insane?
That's crazy.
But I will say, one of the reasons why I made us do this one here is because everyone's favorite line of hers is that is mahogany.
Yes.
I think she's great.
Yes, and may the odds be ever in your favor. Mm-hmm. They said that like once or twice in the book, and it was like a million times in the movie.
Yeah.
I was shocked that one of your video clips was not you complaining about that. I really thought it was going to be.
Nah. Like, whatever.
Stanley Tucci is Caesar Flickerman.
freaking love Stanley Tucci so much, man.
He did really good.
Oh my God. I'm jumping because we're talking about him here, but at the Catching Fire red carpet, he brought his wife. You know who his wife is, right? You don't know.
I don't know actors or their personal lives.
Stanley Tucci is John Krasinski's brother-in-law.
What?
Yeah, he's married to Emily Blunt's sister.
How cool.
Yeah, and so his wife was there, and I was just like, I wanted her to talk, but
Where's
she did
John?
not.
Bring him
Yeah,
here.
I know. I was like, why is this not a family affair? But no, he was one of the. I love Stanley Tucci. Everything he is in, I will see. He's one of the best actors. I love him so much, and he plays Caesar perfectly.
I think so.
And so I was really excited when I got his autograph. And he was one of the people who was very much like, he didn't want to take pictures with fans because he wanted to make sure he got everyone's book signed before he went in.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, I respect this. So then I did the selfie with my eye and him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. All right. We got Wes Bentley as, how do you say his first name?
Seneca.
Seneca Crane.
Mm-hmm. He does really good.
Yeah, he's the game maker.
Yeah. He's so good that I then went and watched a season of American Horror Story because of him.
Oh, wow.
Because he was in it. And I was like, oh, I'll watch that. But then I realized I'm not a fan of American Horror Story. Yeah. And then I watched the season with Lady Gaga too. And I literally, the end of that season came. And the last episode is when I got hooked and wanted more of the story.
Oh, wow.
And I was talking to Katie and Alan about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. And Alan was like, no, it's done. I was like, well, that's stupid. That's where they should have started it then.
Toby Jones plays Claudius Templesmith. So he's one of the other announcers.
Mm-hmm. He did good.
Yeah, he did.
I love Toby Jones.
Mm-hmm.
He's good.
He's fun. Amandla. What a cute name.
Mm-hmm. She's a sweetie.
Steinberg. She's Rue.
Yeah, she's good.
She did perfect.
Yeah,
Yep.
Rue is one of my favorite characters. And like when I started reading it, I got attached to her. And it's funny because Sierra had already read it. And so I texted her and was like, oh my God, I love Rue. And Sierra was silent because she wasn't going to tell me. Even though you would think me going into books like this, I would realize, cool, all your favorite characters are going to die.
Especially if they're in a game where they're killing each other and there can only be one winner.
And they're a little girl.
Yes.
And I was like, how is Katniss going to get her out of there? That's what I thought the rest of the book was going to be. It's like, cool. And then she died next chapter. It's like, oh,
yep.
Cool.
I know, she's not in it much at
No,
all.
one chapter. That's all she gets.
I legit
one chapter.
started crying when Katniss got the bread. I just thought it was so sweet. I was just like, so sweet.
I cry when she dies. I'm like, that's when it gets me.
I just, how much her family still loved her and missed her, but was like, thank you for taking care of my baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's what made me cry. All right, we got Deo. Let's try again. Okanai?
Sure.
It's Thresh.
He does good.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Alexander Ludwig is Cato.
He did really good.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was a good dude.
Tough.
Yeah. I was going to
Scary
say
guy.
good dick, and I said good dude.
He's a good dude.
Ay.
And Isabel Furman. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Clove.
She did really good.
She was
She
scary.
plays such a good, like, evil girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for future episodes. We'll,
Talk about some other people.
yes, because you're probably sitting there like, what about this person?
Mm-hmm. They were in this movie.
Uh-huh.
It's next time.
Yes. Is the theme of the book and the movie the same?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Do the characters stay true to how they're written?
It's funny because I thought they were, but then after doing this, props not. Like, kind of. Vaguely.
I think kind of. I think there's the...
PETA mainly is not.
Yeah, he's just not as... We've gotten tougher and tougher on this question as the seasons have passed, I noticed. Because I feel like, for the most part, the answer is yes. But there are little teeny elements.
Well, like, the biggest thing for me is the fact that he's the one at the end of the movie who's like, okay, this was just for the games.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Katniss was just more of a, I think, tough girl than she was written as.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Because, like, too, you think about it, Katniss is still a freaking, 16-year-old
Mm-hmm.
who got thrown into the Hunger Games. Yeah, she's got to be strong, but she's also a freaking kid.
Yeah. Okay. Which do you prefer?
Book.
Yep, same.
Hands down. It's way better.
Super good. Yes, I
Mhm.
agree.
Mm-hmm. All right. Y'all, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and review. That's the best way to help us.
Yes, help us help you.
Yes. Help us help you not read books.
Wow. Or
Watch
let
movies.
you know which ones are good, so you'll want to go experience it yourself. Just
True.
because we explained it all to you doesn't mean it's not worth watching.
Yeah, exactly.
We're helping everybody.
Reading?
Watching or reading. Yeah. This one is a reading. Go read
Yeah,
this one.
this one read for sure.
Sure, we gave away everything, but you don't know all the details.
Yeah, you don't know how it was done.
How what was done.
Like the writing.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do it.
Yeah.
Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and review us too.
Yeah, please.
Yep.
We would appreciate it.
Yes. All right. So we got on Wednesday our first mini-sode of the season coming out.
Mm-hmm. And then Monday, we've got Catching Fire, which is
Sweet.
actually my favorite book out of this series. Well, okay, no, I lie. Now that the prequel's in the mix, it's the prequel. But if we're not counting the prequel, Catching Fire is my favorite of these three.
Cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And with that, the Hunger Games went off.
Script. Let's try that again. Welcome to season 4.
And with that, the Hunger Games
Went off script.
Bye.
Thanks for sticking with us.
We hope you enjoyed it.
If you did, we would greatly appreciate it if you gave us 5 beautiful stars, reviewed, and subscribed.
You can also follow us on Facebook at Offscript, on Instagram at Offscript Podcast 21, and on TikTok at Offscript_pod.
Shoutouts to Madame Shen Creations for our adorable logo art.
And Adam Daniel for our incredible theme song.
And to Creative Cinephile Productions for producing our podcast.
See you next time.